This is what I want to talk about today. Capitalism, communism, and socialism. All three are a part of our society. The problem is only one is accepted while the others are rejected. Capitalism is defined by Wiki, an economy and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. Okay, that's a good definition, and it does involve everything that happened. We have crony capitalism run amok. So, with this crony capitalism running amok all over the place, what do we have here? Privatized schools, privatized prisons, we got everything. So, you've got all the companies doing their best to make a profit, which is what capitalism is. And if you are for capitalism and you are in poverty, you cannot complain. The reason you can't complain is because that is the entire point of the system you support. Capitalism in a naked form would be simply able to make a profit, and during that profit, if you get gains, cool, but others, you kind of help them along the way. I mean, how can you make money if others aren't making money? So you help your employees make money so you, the employer, can make more money. It's in its naked form, that's what it is. It's a system of cycle. The more I pay, the more I make. And in a capitalist society, the more we work, the more you work. Well, it's not really the more you make. It can't be, because everything that you work for, when you bag those groceries, when you check that person out, when you call anyone if they need help from a call center, or if you're billing and getting hung up on or fussed out, you do so much work for these people that run the company, and they don't pay you any more, but they are hoping to get more out of you. So you can't complain. You just cannot complain about any of it. However, you want to reject communism. Okay. Now, as I sit here, I was annoyed by communism. It has a few definitions. The definitions, here's one. A political theory derived from Karl Marx, advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. I don't agree with that. I don't like that at all. A political theory is something that has actually worked. People use theory incorrectly anyway. I would call it a political hypothesis. I sure as hell wouldn't call it a theory, because a theory is a proven hypothesis. The hypothesis at best is an educated guess. An educated guess. There's no need to do anything dealing with communism in certain forms, in its most corrupt form. The other definition, a theory or system of social organization based on the holding of all property in common, actual ownership being ascribed to the community as a whole or to the state. And the last definition, a system of social organization in which all economic and social activity is controlled by a totalitarian state dominated by a single and self-perpetuating political party. All three of those basically describe the USSR back in Truman days. Hell, to describe communism with social anything, but capitalism with neither, that's just terrible. Communism in its corrupt form was what these were. In its corrupt form, it was, don't even have the opportunity to really do what you want to do. It's, you're going to work here, you're going to get paid this, or your skills are in this area, you work in this division and get paid that. Not everyone got paid the same. Everyone got paid where, depending upon where they worked, what their skill sets were. That's what they got paid. And in that area, everyone got paid the exact same. It's going to sound a little familiar later. And then we get down to socialism. As said here, this kind of annoyed the hell out of me. A political and economic theory of social organization that advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. And I'm thinking, okay, that's great. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. We have another one here. It's policy or practice based on the political and economic theory of socialism. Oh, okay. And then the one that annoyed me the most. In Marxist theory, a transitional social state between the overthrow of capitalism and the realization of communism. Okay. This is when it comes out. Fuck y'all. That's where that come out. Because you can't describe or define socialism with communism. This isn't the Truman era. We're not trying to, no, wait, actually we are, aren't we? We're not using the red machine anymore. We're not using Germany. We're not using any of those places. We're not using USSR or Russia. We're not using any of that. What we're doing is now saying terrorism. And it only comes from Muslims. That's it. That's what we're doing. But let me stay on this topic. What we have in our own country of the United States of America, what we have is communism almost a full communism. It's not that you go out and everyone that works in the place is going to get the same amount of money. No, it's only get 35 cents more, 5 cents less, $1 more. Okay, fine. That's not where it is. It's in the tax brackets. That's where our communism is. It's in our tax brackets. And that's why they only refer to tax brackets. Because your tax bracket isn't based on how much you actually make. It's on how much you gross. If you gross $35,000 a year, you make, where I live, on average, something around 25,000, 21,000, in that weird range. You're taxed a lot. When I worked ages ago, I was taxed 32.3% of my check. Being taxed that much, it didn't hurt then. Not much. Honestly, it was during the time of Clinton, before I knew a tiny portion of politics. I thought that was the greatest time. I could do things. I was making $8.16 an hour, which was well above the $6.25 that I was told was the minimum wage. So that's how that was for me. I was all right. Now that I know some things, I'm thinking capitalism. What's the point? Our tax brackets are screwed. Why do we even go on tax brackets? It seems like the more you make, the less tax you pay. And then the more loopholes you can get. And the loopholes. And people hate communism. Why? Why hate it? Corrupt communism? Of course. Just like we have corrupt capitalism. We have that. But communism is what we do have. So, in that, which is the tax bracket, which is do you make $35,000 or more? Do you make $78,000 or more? Do you make $160,000 or more? Now, these aren't actual tax bracket levels, but they are well within each different tier of it. Communism is alive and well in the United States of America. Capitalism, you got those at the top making all the money, and you got everyone at the bottom making a little bit of money. Sometimes no money. And the ones at the bottom, no matter what they learn from anyone associated in any of that ladder to the top, are not ever going to make as much money as those at the top. Since they're not going to make that much money ever, don't you call that a pyramid scheme? The thing that we're all taught is illegal. The thing that is pretty much the business form of a Jehovah's Witness. You stay away from it. You close your doors. You see them coming up to you with the van or the vacuum cleaner or the briefcase or the book or whatever. Close the door. Close the blinds, the curtains. be quiet, turn everything off. It's almost like around World War II, right before when the Jews were being rounded up. Is staying in their homes, in their attics, like nobody's ever lived there ever, just so they can't be found and killed. That's what's going on. Our society is based on the greatest bill of goods ever sold. And we know it deep inside and we see it, but we are deathly afraid to change it. Deathly afraid to change it. Do we have a socialism? Of course we have a socialism. That's where all of our policemen come from, firefighters, anything of government. We are forced to pay taxes, although that's illegal, being forced to pay taxes. None of you probably knew that. That's illegal. We're forced to pay these taxes so that our state can fund and pay these public or social services. We do this. This is what we have to do. And these services are yet underfunded. Just think about that. You break your back. You spend your mind working, doing things you most likely don't even want to do. And every iota of your effort is placed into something that barely sees a penny from your effort. If my check comes to me and $4.75 is taken out for the state tax or something like that, then I expect $4.75 to go to the state, not into the pockets of the politicians of the state, which is what most likely happens. Okay, when you got millions of people paying multiple dollars, meaning more than one, your state, most likely your county, should be seeing a lot more aid financially from the state. The state shouldn't have to borrow from the government of Capitol Hill. They shouldn't have to go to Obama or soon, sadly, Hillary or Trump. Most likely Hillary's going to win that anyway, when she shouldn't. Okay, I'm not voting for Hillary, and I sure as hell ain't voting for Trump. Our economy is based on our fears. It's based on what we have to do. Could you change the system? Of course you could. It's easy. You can change it. You just have to get up. You have to fight. You have to go out. You have to protest. You have to find a way to look for these people who fight for your ideologies, not the people that you feel you have to identify with. I identify with the Republican Party, so I have to vote Republican. No, you are a registered Republican and your party has abandoned your ideology, so you say, fuck them, and you move to a new party. That's what you do. You move to a new party. You go with what identifies with you, not with what you have to identify with. Change yourself and you change the system. It is that simple. If you change what you think, what you believe, and your own standards, then you change the system. Debbie Wasserman Schultz won her spot in Florida. Why? And I'm going to tell you why, because that's the only name you heard. It's the only name you heard. That's how people like her get in. Who's the other guy? I could look it up. Not going to do it. But I have to look it up to know his name. Just to know his name, I have to look it up. Because I didn't hear about him. I think I heard his name 3 times. Maybe. I think Young Turks did an interview with him. He was mentioned on Farron Cousins' Ring of Fire show. He was mentioned, I think, once on the Tom Hartman show. And I think that's it. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Oh, we know her full damn name. We know what she looked like. It's etched in our brain. We can't change it because it's being changed for us in the wrong way. We need a system that incorporates capitalism, communism, and socialism. Because once we stop bickering over money, once we stop bickering over who's got what and who ain't got shit, then do we finally can say, what's out there? Hey, I don't like this. I want to change this. We can do that. We can. Capitalism in its naked form is just simply Having the ability to make money. That's it. Did you sell this? Yes, you get that. Yes. Did you profit? Not yet, but you sold enough units, then you're profiting. Fine. That's awesome. But capitalism run amok, that is when it's bastardized. And that is when you have to hold someone down to make sure you gain that much more profit. A great example of this would be Walmart. Walmart came in and they hired everybody. Everyone got hired. You didn't get paid shit, but you had a job. You had a job and you could find any 20 to 40 people working in any small Walmart. In a super Walmart, well, that was much later here. And by then they had already started laying people off because that's what they do. They say, hell, we're spending almost $500,000 on employees. That just sucks. We only make like $7 billion a year, and 500,000 of that is going to employees. Look, we fire half of them. That's $250,000. That puts more money in our pocket. That's awesome. Well, what if we roboticize a few things? Self-checkout. We can get rid of a lot more. Okay, of course that self-checkout is going to cost about, $30,000, maybe $150,000. But hey, we get rid of more. And we don't have to pay $250,000 anymore. We don't have to worry about that $250,000. What we can do is drop that down to about $50,000. It's dropped significantly. And with all of our products that used to be cheap, that keep slowly going up in price. When you see it for $375 one week, you go back the next week and it's at $480 on rollback. It's not a rollback. That's bullshit. That's what that is. And that's what they do. They ruin society for their own financial gain. That's bad capitalism. And that's what we got with our government. If Walmart's screwing it up that bad, what's going up on Capitol Hill? Everyone needs to think about that. That's what needs to happen. Add some communism to it. Everyone at Walmart, you work here. Everyone that's not a manager, anyone below management, you all will make, I don't know, $22 an hour. Why? Because that's the minimum amount of money needed to live comfortably. And what's wrong with living comfortably? Well, I don't even want people to live comfortably. I want to live comfortably. I do. I love comfort. Don't you? Sitting in your home when it's 105 outside and the AC is on and you're all cooled off. Don't you love it? Or when it's going to be negative 20 outside during the winter. I think winter now is from January 10th to January 25th. I don't know. I think you get about a week or two of winter now. It doesn't really cool off too much until late December, I think. It's done it for the past 3 years. Hell, it's already fall outside. The leaves are turning. They're falling. The wind blows, they fall. Fall is September 21st to December 21st. Fall is happening a bit damn early. I don't blame global warming because that just can't possibly exist. I can't blame climate change because that just can't be anything real. I mean, the oil companies told us a long time ago and every single day that it doesn't exist. Since they told us and they make a lot of money, they must know what they're talking about. Anyone who believes that, you're fucking stupid. Adding a little socialism, that's awesome. Socialism is a good deal of what we have today. Your police, firefighters, some of the medical areas, anything that relies on government to help the public, the road work, that's socialism. They're building a new bridge, a new highway system, new freeway, new overpasses. They're fixing the potholes so your car wheels don't break off. That's socialism, folks. That's what that is. Deal with it, love it, own it, take it, breathe it, bask in it. That's what you do. But instead, you fight it. You call it communism, and you hate each other. You hate anyone who says it. Socialism is awesome. A bad, corrupt socialism, we never had the chance of that. A bad one would be when you put every iota of money into the people's pocket, into the road work, into everything. You spend more money on the people and everything else than you do helping anybody else. And then you have no money to actually help anybody, so then it slowly crumbles. we have a reverse of that with the capitalism, because all of these corporate Mongols up there that are making the billions of dollars and paying out the multiple millions of dollars to their executives, what the fuck can one person do that would garnish them to make over $300 million on one deal as a bonus? It's not even their pay. It's a bonus. What about the people? You go to fast food, they fast food workers. They work at McDonald's or Burger King. They ain't shit. They don't make anything. Well, think about this. If they didn't have it, you wouldn't be able to go there and buy it. They work there to feed your ass. That's kind of messed up. You talk shit on the very people that gives you this cheap, free-ish food. And it's free-ish because, while these food costs $4, $5, and $6, and $7 for a combo, you could go to a 5-star restaurant and eat like a king. You know, that small amount of food prepared perfectly on that big ass plate, and that costs about $25 to $45 just because of who made it or where it was made. We need to change ourselves. That's what we need to do. Make a new system, involve all three. Pay everyone equally so no one can complain. You're not allowed to talk about how much you make, because if you do, it's going to piss others off. They're going to wonder why they don't make as much as you. Or you're going to wonder why the hell you don't make as much as them. And then you got to come up with every excuse, and people are going to get fired. So if everyone makes the same, no one has to question. All they would question then is the work that they do. And in the society that we have, the work that you do is not worth the pay that you get. Change it. Change yourself. Make a better world. Thank you for listening.